Okay, so I'm multiplying and dividing my rational expressions. So I'm going to be factoring like before, and then I can cancel across if I'm multiplying and dividing. Um, and then I cannot have a zero in the denominator. All right, that would be undefined. And then when I divide by a fraction, what you do is you don't divide. You flip it over and multiply by the reciprocal. All right, so here's your example. If I have 1/3, right, divided by, so I have 1/3 divided by 4/5, right? What I'm going to do is keep the 1/3 the same. The first number stays the same, but you're going to multiply by the reciprocal of the second number. So 4/5 becomes 5/4. All right, so, and then I would multiply. Variables and exponents, remember if you're multiplying, you're going to add the exponents. Okay, 1 plus 3 would be 4. And if I'm dividing, I'm going to subtract the exponents. 3 minus 1 is 2. All right, and then if I have a power of a power, I'm going to multiply. 2 times 3 would be my 6. So those rules still apply. So here's our example. We're multiplying rational expressions, so I'm going to reduce first. All right, so I've got 4 times 15. I'm just going to look at the numbers first. So I've got 4 and 15 on the top and 5 times 16 on the bottom. So I'm going to go alpha y equals, and actually I'll just do it here. So alpha y equals, and I'm going to hit this, and I've got 4 times 15 in the numerator, and then the denominator was 5 times, no, divided by 4 times 16. And I'll hit enter. So that reduces to 3/4. Okay? So these divided out, this number divided out, notice I could say, okay, 4 divided by 4 is 1. 16 divided by 4 is 4. And then 5 divided by 5 is 1. And 15 divided by 5 is 3. All right, and so that gives me 3/4. That's all that's left here. It's my 3/4. All right, and then now I've got, I still had a times b squared, and then a cubed times b. So I'll put these alphabetically. And then now I can subtract, right? I've got 1a up here, and 1 minus 3. All right, if I do 1 minus 3, that's -2. Remember, your negatives are going to go in the denominator, okay? And then that also makes sense because I've got this 1a up top is going to divide out with one of these down here. So I have 2 left, right? 1 minus 3 is 2. And then here I have 2 b's in my numerator. 2 minus 1 is 1. So I have that 1b in my numerator. All right, now as far as excluded values, you look here. So b can't be 0, right? And a is all is a factor, a lone factor. So neither one of those could be 0. Anything except for 0. Now if I'm multiplying binomials, I'm going to factor first, and then I'm going to cancel. So notice we have a common factor of 4. So the 4 comes out, all right? And then I have well, hang on. I think what I'll do is okay, I'm going to factor each of these individually. So I've got 4t squared minus 4, all right? So I can see I've got a common factor here of 4, all right? So I pull out the 4, and then that divides out, so I've got t squared minus 1, right? Because that's 1 as well, all right? And that's a perfect square and a perfect square, all right? So I can remember I've got 4, so it would be t plus 1, and then t minus 1. All right, or I could polysmelt it. All right, so that is that factor, and that's what you have up here. 4 times t plus 1 and t minus 1. All right, and then I'm going to factor out this one, right? 3t plus 3. Okay, they both have a factor of 3. So the 3 comes out, and then you have 3 divided by 3 is 1, so I have a t, and then that's a 1, so I have plus 1. Oops. All right, and so that's that right there. And then now I'm going to factor this one. I've got 9. Well, 9 is just 9, right? So I'll factor that one, t plus 1 squared. Well, those are the factors, right? T plus 1 twice, right? You have t plus 1 times t plus 1. That's t plus 1 squared. All right? And then here I've got 2t minus 2. So 2t minus 2. I'm going to divide 2 out of everything, right? That's the common factor, so that comes in front. And then I've got 2 divided by 2 is 1, so I have t. And then that would be minus, and then 2 divided by 2 is 1. All right, so there's my 2t minus 1. And then here's the fun part. You get to cancel everything out, right? T plus 1, t plus 1, t plus 1, t plus 1. If it's on the top and the bottom, you cancel it out. There's a minus 1, t minus 1. And then number-wise, I can do that too. All right, I'll go ahead and just do 4 times 3 over 9 times 2, and my alpha y equals. So 4 times 3 all over 9 times 2. And I get 2/3. And that's it, because all my other factors reduced, right? So you have 2/3. And you're done. All right. Excluded values, go back to your original problem, right? So if you have t plus 1 as a factor, then negative 1 is going to make, if I put a negative 1 in there, negative 1 plus 1, that would be 0. So that would be excluded. And if I put a positive 1 here, 1 minus 1 would be 0. And so that is also excluded values. So or t, not so t, the dreaded t cannot equal negative 1 or positive 1. All right, so let's practice. And what you want to do is you try it, and then you can check, just pause, try it, and then check your answer with what I've got. All right. So you've got 17 divided by 17, x divided by x, and then I'm going to reduce, I'll do 18, so alpha y equals 18 divided by, oops, I don't want to do that up there, 18 divided by, what was my denominator, 16. 18 divided by 16, and that reduces to 9/8. All right, so I have 9/8, and then all that's left is the x squared, so that would be on top as well. And that is my answer. Excluded values would be x cannot equal 0 because you have that x by itself in the denominator. All right. Here I don't have any excluded values because there's no variables down there. All right. So I'm going to have basically n squared. And then I'll just do the numbers. 6 times 15 all over 2 times 20. So 6 times 15 opens. So alpha y equals 6 times 15 all over 2 times 20. And I get 9/4. And so you can see how this works with variables and numbers the same way. There's these are even, 6 and 2 are even, so I can divide 2, right? If you ever wanted to do it by hand, you just divide out the common factors. These end in 5 and 0, so 15 divided by 5 is 3, and 20 divided by 5 is 4. And 3 times 3 is 9, right, because I'm multiplying. And then I have the n squared on top, and 1 times 4 is 4. Okay. And then over here with the 9/8, they're both even, so 18 divided by 2 is 9, and 16 divided by 2 is 8. Okay. Now, for this next one, all right, I've got, I can't reduce these anymore, right? And then I'm multiplying by 4 over that. Well, this 2n plus 10, so I've got n plus 5, it's going to stay like that, and n plus 4 cannot be reduced. 4 cannot be reduced, but the 2n plus 10, they both are even, so 2 is a common factor. So 2 comes out, divide by 2, so that's n, and then 10 divided by 2 is positive 5. So here I have 2 times n plus 5. All right, and so now the fun part, we'll cancel out the ones that they both have. And so my final answer would be 4 on top and n plus 4 in the denominator. Okay. For excluded values, all right, again, look back to these denominators. So if what would make that equal 0 would be negative 4, right? It's always the opposite. All right, so n, let me write that down here. N cannot equal negative 4. And then over here, all right, this, if you look at this factor here, 2 is 2, so that we don't have to worry about that. But n plus 5, the opposite one would be a negative 5, right? You always, the zeros are opposite of the factors, so those are your excluded values. All right. Looking at the next one, I would have, I cannot reduce that one, so that would just be 1 over 10x squared times, but then here we do have a common factor, right? They both have a factor of 10, right? If I write this up here, I have 10x cubed minus 20x squared, so they both have a factor of 10. And they both have 2 x's, right? So 10 divided by 10 is 1, and then 3 minus 2 is 1. So the 10x squared comes out, and it's getting a little squished here. Let's see. And that would be times x, right? 3 minus 2 is 1. And then here I have a minus, and then 20 divided by 10 is 2. And then that, oh, I'm going to look out because that's the end of that. Because 2 minus 2 is 0. All right, so that's that numerator. And then I have 20x in the denominator there. All right, so now what I've got is 1 here times 10x squared. So basically I have 10x squared. Oh, wait. I'm going to go ahead and reduce. All right, so I did my factoring. All right, step 1 is factor, and then I'm going to reduce. All right, the old fun crossing out. So 10 divided by 10, and then x squared divided by x squared, and then I'm done. So I have x minus 2 in my numerator. That's all that was left. And then I have 20x in my denominator. Okay. And the excluded values, well, these x factors were all by themselves. So x cannot equal 0. So go ahead and finish those, and we will come around and check and see how you're doing and help you. And have fun.